Hello everybody, we are here with your Chernobog ADC guide. Chernobog right now, widely considered to be one of the better hunters in the game, and that is because of his global ulti. He's basically like a slightly worse Apollo, but Apollo is so good that he's basically banned every game. So oftentimes the best next option is going to be your Chernobog. So we're going to be starting off with the traditional hunter start right now. That's going to be our leather cowl into our spiked gauntlet. You can do leather cowl, it's probably by an active first, eh? You can do leather cowl into transcendence as well, but I prefer Devo gloves on most hunters right now to double down on the sustain. You don't have to go the Devo gloves though, so I don't want you to feel like you're completely restricted into that. Although something like the Transcendence is usually better for mana heavy gods, and Chernobog not that mana heavy. Although all hunters at the very start are gonna be a little bit mana heavy. So our job to pull the red buff here and then leash it right back over to our mid laner. Make sure you do actually pull that and take a couple of autos for your mid laner. You're gonna sustain up. Your mid laner would have to pop a potion there, so it's really nice to them not have to pop the potion, but make sure you do actually leash it back to them. Otherwise they're gonna lose a little bit of time running to pick it up. So we've grabbed our one here on Chernobog first. I'm actually gonna get my dash second, just in case I end up needing it. I'm gonna be playing it safe right now. If you wanted to go aggressive, you would get your 2 second, but I'm mostly concerned about potential early ganks and stuff, and I think we're gonna have lots of lane pressure without me necessarily needing to explode my 2. Although my Serb right there getting a little exploded. I'm gonna kind of play aggressive, walk up, looking at this Dancer right now. I've got my dash up if I need it, so I can do that. On Chernobog, your standard combination is going to be your 1 into your 2. So your 1 does some good AoE damage, and normally you have to wait for it to proc a second time in order for it to do the second iteration of damage. And also that's when it does its root.
Well,
but if you pop your 2 on it,
yes,
then it does that second iteration of damage in the root immediately, so you don't have to wait, which is quite nice. So right now I can throw down my 1 and then my 2 immediately. Gonna dash myself into the wall and dash out. Chernobog's dash is unique in that it can be used twice and it dashes into an object. You can only use it twice if you actually dash into something. So if I were to just dash down the lane, I can't actually use this ability a second time. So you can dash into a wall, you can dash into a player-made object, so a Ymir wall, an Anher pillar, whatever, you can dash into those, and you can actually stay inside them for a couple of seconds, and you are not targetable while you are inside that ability. That means that you can use it to avoid damage, just like you would in Aegis, as long as you are inside that wall, and then you can either wait the full duration timer to come out, or you can just pop yourself out.
Scanning for targets.
The ability that we're maxing out first is going to be our 1. This is just our main source of damage and lane clear. It's also going to lower that CDR. We're going to rank up our ultimate whenever we can, because this is going to give us increased damage mitigation, and it's also going to give our shadow clones more speed. Your shadow clones is what you actually teleport to on your Chernobog, so them having more speed means you're gonna land closer to your opponent, which is very important. Then we're ranking up our 2. Our 2 is gonna give us increased attack speed and a longer duration. Finally, ranking up our dash at the very end. So that is 4, 1, 2, 3 on Chernobog. My Cerberus needs to be a little bit careful over here. He's been getting a little involved. And finally, our passive on Chernobog. You just attack the same target 3 times, and it does a little AoE explosion. So you can see these little things popping up on this minion, and when you get 3 of them, they explode and they do a little bonus damage. This is nice for when you're just 1v1ing against your hunter in your lane, because you just get a little bonus damage as long as you're landing those autos. And who doesn't like bonus damage on their autos? So So right now, for the most part, what I'm doing is I'm just farming, trying to wait for those Devo gloves. If I have to back before I can finish Devo gloves, that's okay. My Cerberus is taking a lot of damage this game. I'm gonna try to get in front of that. Woo! So my Cerberus actually played that really smart. The Danza ultied onto him. And so I tried to run in front of him and to tank it for him so he wouldn't die, but he actually runs behind the tower. So the tower tanks that for him, and he gets to live. My inner support was channeling right there, and I had to make sure to get in front of him so he wouldn't die. But that was a very good play from our Cerberus to avoid that Danza rocket. Danza rocket, of course, does get stopped by projectiles. So it's extra nice if you're like an Anher or somebody, because you can just throw down a wall and then you have no problem whatsoever. I need to be super careful on this wave, but I only need like 50 more gold in order to get my Devo gloves. So I'm just going to mostly clear this wave, let the minions clear the rest and back up so I can finish my Devos and get a couple of wards out. In the early stages of the game, you're gonna have mana consumption issues when you go the leather cowl. I still think it's by far the best option for your starter items on hunters, but the one thing that it struggles with is that early mana consumption, so you cannot just be spamming abilities. There's also nothing wrong with grabbing a couple of mana pots if you absolutely need to on your backs, if you want to spam your abilities just a little bit more. My Awilix is ganking over here, but he's pretty close to the tower. I could ulti to get near him. He's actually gonna rocket at my Awilix, but she gets once again behind a wall. So I didn't really want to ulti right there. He was really close to his tower, and he could have just rode his rocket out. But now that his rocket is down, I actually have a decent opportunity to gank him if he moves up through the lane. Speaking of ganks, I'm gonna go over right now to the mid lane because I see that there is a fight breaking out. Unfortunately, our Scylla is at 1 HP, and our Cerberus already has to back up. So I'm actually just gonna sit here and try to hold a wave. They got absolutely wrecked. So this is what you're trying to do on Chernobog. This is the preferential way to use your ultimate, is you want to be rotating into these fights. Whether you're Chernobog or whether you're Apollo, you want to be rotating a lot with your ulti, preferably over to the mid lane when those fights are breaking out. Hopefully for you, the targets will be a little bit lower HP, and so you'll be able to capitalize on that a little bit more. But that is what you are trying to do with the Chernobog. It's almost always right over to the mid lane. You can ulti to the solo lane, but most of the fights right now in Season 8 are going to be in between that Gold Fury to Fire Giant area. That's where almost all of the fights are currently breaking out.
Completed. Well, you tried.
For our boots, we're going to go just regular Ninja Tabi. You can go Warrior Tabi on Chernobog because of your stim that you get on your 2. But I'm going to go a more crit build this game. I'm not super concerned about their frontline getting too many thorns. Maybe the Cucullin will get 1 thorns, but that's okay for me. They don't have a Kuzenbo or nothing. So I'm actually going to go into a crit build here on Chernobog. Crit is really good again on hunters.
Enemies incoming left.
Here in Season 8. Just gonna dash into the wall, throw down a little 1 defensively behind me, and it doesn't look like he's going to commit to that fight, and now I can just kind of use this for a little heal. Now my whole team is here, so I'm gonna quickly ulti, because that's going to show me where the Danza is in his little leaf, and it's gonna slow him down, but it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to grab that kill. So my team wasn't able to find Danza right there. Your ultimate will show characters in stealth. So I tried to quickly show him in stealth with the ulti so he could catch up to him, but he was already too far away. Danza has also opted to go into boots first, which is why he is so much faster than us right now. You can always go boots first. If you're gonna get boots though, I tend to not want the Devo gloves. The Devo glove stacks are ridiculously important. So he's probably going to go a Transcendent. You can see that he is. If you want to do the Transcendent start, I do think that the going first item boots is a lot more viable because the Transcendent stacks are not nearly as important as those Devos, and the Devos just take longer to get going in general. So you'll have a little bit less present in the early game, but once we get into our crit build stuff, it is going to be absolutely wild. And that's fine. We don't mind being patient in Season 8 and waiting for that really good team fight to just snowball out of control. In the laning phase for Chernobog, what you don't really want to go against is an Apollo. Apollo is just basically the better version of you, so he's probably the #1 god you need to be worried of matchup wise, because he is also going to be able to rotate around with you, but he has a higher chance of 1v1ing you in the lane. Apollo, one of the premier dueling kind of gods right now. Chernobog not bad at all in his 1v1s. I would say that he maybe struggles against a couple of the top end guys, the Apollos and Anhers of the world. But even somebody as good as Danza, you do have a shot against. Danza, another one of the very good boxing hunters right now. So another way that we can utilize the Chernobog ult is we can back up, and then in order to get back to the lane, we can actually use our ultimate to do that. So I see that there's a fight breaking out in mid, so I'm gonna ulti right over to the mid lane. I had to back anyway for boots. I'm gonna wait for Scylla to use her dash, then I'm gonna try to dash into him. He gets forced to use the ultimate, and now we can just keep this chase going and hopefully put him down.
That is some amazing engineering.
So using your ultimate right after you back means you maximize the amount of items that you have. So I backed up and I didn't waste any time trying to walk back to lane because I just got to ulti right back to lane. So I got to ulti right into the fight. So backing before you ulti, if at all possible,
some amazing engineering.
is very convenient. Or I could have used it if there wasn't a fight breaking out in the mid lane. I could have used it to ulti right back over to the Danza and left. That also would have been very nice. Now, do be careful. You can see I've missed out on a little bit of XP because of my rotations. A lot of that is from that first rotation where I ultied in and we had just lost the team fight super hard. But do be careful that you're not losing out on too much XP on your rotations. Now, if Danza tries to ulti me and I am anywhere near a wall, I should basically be able to dash into that wall and keep myself safe, assuming that I have mana, of course. I think he might continue to dive me, so I'm just gonna run back to my T2. I'm out of mana. I don't want to contest this, but I actually don't really want to back. I think he's probably gonna try to go clear this wave. So I'm gonna sit behind this wall, wait for him to clear the wave. So that way I can still get credit for this entire wave and I don't have to back without my ultimate being up.
Returning to base.
As long as I wait for my ultimate to be up, I basically never have to walk back to lane and I can continually look for opportunities. For our third item, we are gonna go into a fail knot. I'm gonna grab a Aegis as my second active. I can see a potential fight breaking out around the mid lane. So I'm actually gonna ult the endless. I called for the fight. Unfortunately, it looks like everybody was a little bit afraid to go for this one. So we're not gonna be able to break it out. We had 4 people over there, but they got a little bit scared. That should have been a fight opportunity. The second that Athena was walking forward, we should have been taking that fight. Unfortunately, we try to go for a fight afterwards, and this fight is no longer a good fight. I have overstayed my welcome, and I need to go back over to my lane. When you're going for those quick ganks with a Chernobog, it's got to be fast. You want to get in, try to get a kill, and get out, because otherwise, the enemy ADC is going to be able to rotate over like normal, and then you're losing a lot of the utilization of that Chernobog. So you want to make it a quick ult. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, darn. But get in and get out and then get back to your farming. For matchups that are really good for Chernobog, Chernobog loves going against all of the characters that do not have escapes, because it makes his 1-2 combo really easy to land. Also, a lot of those gods that are the more traditional non-escape gods like Artemis and AMC, a lot of times you can also avoid their ultimates with your dash into the wall, which also provides you a lot of value. Artemis uses Tusky. Well, you can go hide in the wall, and oftentimes Tusky will like lose interest and go start fighting a minion or something. Think AMC's about to ult you? Fantastic. Dash that into the wall. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm about to get Hunbat ulted, so I'm gonna keep waddling away. Don't really have that much mana. I know there's a Kukula nearby. I'm gonna quickly back up. I think they're gonna go for my purple. So I wanna back up immediately by this Fail Not and then start my ultimate to come right back in. I'm gonna go towards the Danza because I know that Danza does not have his actives up right now. I land immediately in the taunt. I know that this little leafy boy is him, but my beads are already down, but we should have a really nice fight right here. Keeping an eye right now on my Aegis just in case the Scylla comes in looking for me. Luckily right now, he's actually not looking at me, which is super convenient. And I'm gonna try to grab a kill, so I chose to dash around the other direction very aggressively. I knew that I was gonna die no matter what, so I make sure to dash back in and we grab ourselves another kill on that Scylla right there. So you get to choose the direction that you come out of that dash. Another thing I should note is that you actually don't have to ulti to anybody in your ult. When you do ulti to somebody, it resets all of your cooldowns and you get all the mitigations and stuff. But you can cancel out of this ability or let the timer run out just as if it was a Rama ult, where like you don't actually have to use like all 3 Rama ults, right? You can like come down early and try to juke people. You can actually do the same thing with Chernobog ult as well. You can either sit in the whole time and let it drop you back down. Now in this case, you won't get any of like the ability resets. So don't try to like go right up in the air and then just cancel your ability. So you come right back down, you won't get any of the benefits. So don't do it like that. But if you need to teleport somewhere and you look around and you realize that everything's going to get you killed, maybe all the enemies are basically back in base, maybe they're all grouped up, well, you can just utilize it for that vision and then come right back down and you're still going to be okay. So after my Fail Not right now, I'm going to go into a Wind Demon. Fail Not and Wind Demon is going to give us 20% penetration without actually really building any penetration items, which is very convenient. It's also going to give us the opportunity to go into Dominance. I always forget the name of this item, Dominance, which would bring us up to that full 40%. If we think that we need it. Now, they do have a couple of shells out. Shell is a very popular active right now. It's also a viable active on your ADC. You can see that Danza has actually gone into Magic Shell. If you are not against a big ultimate mid laner, I actually generically recommend Shell. I'm going to back up right here. I'm actually going to start working on that Wind Demon, and I'm going to ulti in towards the mid lane. I'm going to go right in, looking at that Kukulin in the back and see if I can't put him down quickly. I am. Now I'm looking at the Athena. She has popped her thorns. I'm going to turn back onto the Hunmats. I think that her dash is currently down, so we should be able to grab a couple more kills just like that. So if you're not going a big mid damage, a bopper right now, unfortunately, pretty much all the mid laners that are meta are going to be high clear guys with giant ults. Janus ult, Scylla ult, Ra, all of these types of characters. So Aegis is still very good against these mid laners, which is why I've got my Aegis, because I'm against the Scylla. If I don't have the Aegis for the Scylla, then I'm relying on my dash to use it. I mean, yeah, it counts as an Aegis, but it can be a little rough. I'd rather have the 2 different opportunities. But if you don't have to do that, maybe they're just rocking like a Baron in mid lane or something, then you can just go oh, that's a little awkward. Then you can just go a Shell, man. Shell is such a good fighting active in the duo lane. It's so good against the enemy hunter. So if you don't absolutely have to go Aegis, like this game I felt like I needed to, then I do recommend going the beads as your active and then Shell for your 2 actives on hunters right now. But you've got to keep in mind that Aegis for those big ultis, because if you get rocked by a Scylla ulti, you know, Shell ain't gonna do you no good. So you don't want that in your life. So right now we've got the Danza dead, we've got the Athena dead. I'm very low on my mana, but I want to make sure I get all of this farm so I can catch up. All of that XP that I was basically down on Danza, I am now caught up. I see that there's 3 people over in solo lane by the fire, so I can actually pretty greedily push up here and grab myself this tier 1 tower and also this next wave.
Well, you tried.
All right, back up. Let's get our Wind Demon. And I'm gonna look at their builds right now. Squishy, pretty physical heavy. Squishy, not actually that tanky. So I don't feel like I'm actually going to need to go into a dominance this game. Because I don't feel like I need to go into a dominance, I'm going to get myself a Deathbringer for that triple crit instead. This is also about the time that I'm gonna start saving up money. So I'm not gonna spend any more money on my crit until I get my starter item ranked up. Because by the time that I get level 20, I should be able to basically generate the amount of gold that I need in order to get this leather cow ranked up to our hunter's cow, which is the one that you're gonna buy every single time. Now in the late game here on Chernobog, we're really going to be abusing our global ult. So we need to make sure we have some wards out just in case we're about to get ganked. So I see that there's Athena and a Danza over here, which means there's only 3 people over in the right lane. So I'm going to ulti right on over and just try to put down somebody super quick. Scylla beats Aegis and Light is down. And now I can call for the Fire Giant. In fact, we actually might be able to kill this Kukulkan over here in right. He is completely zoned out. And we spread the map. So because the map is so big this season, this is where Chernobog and Apollo really become disgusting. Somebody needs to back up and defend left lane. It looks like our Wheelix is going to, because Dan's is going to stay over there, split push, and we get to start the Fire Giant. Because we've got a crit build, this Fire Giant should get burned extremely fast as soon as our character remembers how to crit. All right, easy peasy secure with the Scylla, and we grab another kill for the team. Now I've got my 1500 gold, I am level 20, so I can go ahead and back it up right now. We're getting a little greedy staying over by the Fire Giant this long. I'm gonna try to cut Hunbat's way out if he tries to jump over a wall or something. The second we got that Fire Giant, we should have basically just been skedaddling right on out of there. But at this point, we're kind of just here now. So I'm accidentally body blocking my Wheelix, but we're gonna grab that kill, and there's no stopping the W now. You just got to embrace the W sometimes when it comes your way. So should be able to grab ourselves a Kukulkan kill. And at this point, we might as well go right for this right lane. We have an Arthur and an Wheelix. Arthur should have been up here tanking this. This is a big mistake on Arthur's part. Arthur went back to grab the creeps instead of just walking up and tanking this for us, because we've got all this time. And a Wheelix had to go up and tank. Now he's here, and he can come up and tank this, and we should be able to grab this Phoenix regardless, and then run away and reset. There you go. No need to go back and get the creeps right there at that point. So now we should group up and we should go attack left lane. We got to get that last tier 2 tower down. Gold Fury is about to spawn. Make sure I've got wards here for the end of the game for my team. And at this point, I'm attacking anybody in front of me. Doesn't matter whether it's a tank, a squishy, whatever. The only thing I've got to be concerned about is these thorns. If those thorns are on me, luckily Chernobog doesn't have to care about thorns probably more so than any other hunter in the game, because you can just go into your little hidey hole and you can chill there for 3 seconds and then their thorns is basically off. So worst comes to worst, you can go into your hidey hole, use your Aegis, bada bing, bada boom, and just wait out the thorns. Also, standardly, the support is not going to be building thorns. So normally at most right now, you only have 1 thorns to deal with. Now, Dan's probably just going to use his rocket to get right on out of here. But if he gets caught out first, I'm going to try to get in front of him. He's using his rocket to get out this way, so I'm actually going to ulti so I can follow him right on through this. I'm going to try to dash at him. My team is on the other side, and now we've got him cut off from both directions. Chernobog is a great ultimate to be chasing people down. a lot of multi-uses. We've used it for split pushing this game. We've used it for catching up to people. We've used it for quick backs to buy items, come back to lane. Kokolin has put him way out of position. So he popped Thorns, and you can see how much I don't even care right there because I've got so much sustain built in from my Devo gloves and my Hunter's Cow. I can actually just burn right through it. Now, death timers are long at this point in the game. I'm going to use my 2 to give myself that bonus attack speed here on the Phoenixes. Phoenix damage, probably one of my weakest things with this build. I'm keeping my eyes on the Athena. She pops her Thorns. I don't care. Now I can turn back on this Hunbash, dash through him, try to get the slow. Not quite going to get the dash, but we're going to be able to end the game. My last item, of course, this game was going to be that Deathbringer. But Dominance is a great option if you want to make sure you guaranteed have that cap % penetration. You'll get that pen from the Fail Knight, you'll get it from the Wind Demon crit, and then you'll get that 20% as well on the Dominance. Reminder, that's 20% on your autos, but only 10% on your abilities, because that is how that item works. But it's a fantastic item. In that case, you just end up avoiding the Deathbringer at the end of the game. Your crits will still deal tons of damage. You do not have to have Deathbringer right now, guys. It is not mandatory. So the takeaways from Chernobog, make sure you're utilizing that ultimate. Don't be afraid to split push, but just because you're split pushing doesn't mean you're just committing to AFK in a lane all game. It means that you're split pushing to force somebody over. The second you see them come over, that's when you ult the end of that fight. Win a team fight. Now you have an extra person. It should be 5v4. Should be an easy fight for you, and then you grab the objectives, guys. And that is our Chernobog.